Hello, welcome. This is Blockchain Bloom, the blockchain educator. I'm Attila Pinke, and I have a very special guest today here with me, Mr. Pascal Gauthier, the CEO of Ledger. Pascal, thank you very much to giving your time.
Pleasure.
And I would like to take the opportunity to talk about Ledger and many other things in security when it comes to crypto, because this is what Ledger is really standing for. You actually not just the CEO of Ledger, but you also non-executive chairman of Kaiko, if that's correct. You know, it's a data provider company for blockchain data.
Correct. Yeah, I think I'm only a board member now at Kaiko. I think over the time I started as CEO, then non-executive chairman, and now I think I'm only a board member.
Only, okay.
But still very happy. And Ambre Souberan is the CEO, and she's doing a kick-ass job to make Kaiko the best data company in the space.
Right. And you're actually having a restaurant as well. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. I think the restaurant has been going on for 8 years now. And it's something that I did while I was building Kaiko at the time, because the market was so slow and I'm not a developer, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I had nothing to sell, nothing to pitch, and so I always wanted to build a restaurant. So it's not something that I bought, or it's not something that I invested in. It's something that I built myself with a friend. And so we did it. You know, I had time, so I built Kaiko and the restaurant at the same time. And as well, I was an investor. I was a venture partner at Mosaic Ventures in London. So I was doing all these things at the same time. And in 2017, I decided, with the bull run, I just focused on Bitcoin and Ledger.
And Ledger. But the reason why I mentioned these things, that's why it took me, was that because you're doing so many things in the same time. Okay, but for those of you who don't know your professional past that well, can you just please, update them? How did you get to Ledger? What did you do, before professionally? And also, how did you meet crypto? So when did you get into crypto?
Yeah, so it was at the same time that I was building Kaiko.
Okay.
When you build a company, the statistics of failure are not good for any entrepreneur. It's more sure that you're going to fail than you're going to succeed. And so I knew nothing about crypto, I knew nothing about finance, I knew nothing about coding. So I thought that my chances of failure were pretty high. And so I thought to myself, look, I'm going to also invest. And also I was investing at the time. And I thought to myself, I'm also going to invest in others. So even if I fail my company, maybe others will succeed, and in investing with others, I will learn. And when I touched Bitcoin was in 2014, I thought that data was missing, so hence Kaiko and the data company. But security was missing as well. The security of the private key. What struck me while reading the white paper was that there was nothing said about, what do you do with your private keys? Suddenly you have this entropy and those 24 words, and but if you want to hold Bitcoin yourself, because it's a peer-to-peer network, then what do you do with the private keys? And so I met this team in Paris late 2014 called Ledger, and they were doing a seed round, and I decided to invest. And little did I know, because I invested very fast, and I said, look, I'm gonna put a significant investment and I want a board seat. So they said yes very quickly, because nobody wanted to touch Bitcoin at the time, and let alone Bitcoin and hardware, crazy. And so apparently I led the seed round, because everybody seeing me investing so quickly thought that I knew something. I didn't know anything. I just knew that the market needed security, and that the chip and pin technology that Ledger uses is the best line of defense to protect cryptographic secrets. And so here we are.
Right. And talking about Ledger, so what is actually Ledger's mission on the market?
Look, we are a cybersecurity company, and we don't compromise on security. So you don't have to compromise, either as a consumer or an enterprise, on security. In this market, from the beginning, there's been this weird attitude of always compromising on something.
Yeah.
Either you compromise on self-custody or custody. You're like, oh, well, I'm going to custody my coin with someone, which defeats the purpose of crypto. If not self-custody, if not private property, why crypto? Why do you need Bitcoin if it's to put your bitcoins at the bank. I'm not saying that banks shouldn't exist. I'm saying okay, but the fact is that Bitcoin was designed to be a peer-to-peer system. So people compromise on private property and ownership, and people compromise on security. Today, anything that's built on top of your computer or your phone is not safe.
Yeah.
We know this. We know this very instinctively because we've been hacked so many times through our phones and computer. And why? It's because the operating system is not a security operating system. The phones and computers have not been designed to be secure hardware. And so you can attack the phone and computer via the operating system. And so everything that sits on top of it can be easily broken. And we've all heard the stories. And so what Ledger has done really is, and I've got the new device here with me, Ledger Stax.
We're going to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, so it's a device that not only secures your private key with that sort of chip and pin technology. There is a secure element into this, just like the one that you have on your credit card. But also that secure element has an operating system that is the only secure operating system in the world that is proprietary to Ledger. And that operating system connects to the blockchain protocols, but also controls the screen and the touch screen. And so therefore, this is the only device in the world that has full security, not compromising on security, and where the secure element controls everything all the way from the screen. So what you see here is actually truth, reality. So if you're going to send anything, Bitcoin or Ethereum somewhere, you have to sign it here.
Right, because one of the dangers is when it comes to blind signing, in the past, because you don't even know what you are signing. And in these older devices, you actually didn't have the ability to see it clearly. But now with this one, if I'm right, then clear signing is impossible and you see everything then basically.
Well, clear signing was always possible with any of the Ledger devices, but what we are really striving for here with this new generation of devices is the ease of use,
Okay.
And so with a bigger screen, it's easier to display something. You have more space, it's more clean, for people to understand what they're signing. They don't have to look at, 5 different screens, if you see what I mean.
Because the previous one were smaller.
Were much smaller screens, of course. And so really the upgrade here is really UX and UI, the user experience and the user interface. It's so much greater. It doesn't mean that the elder products like S Plus and X that we're still selling today, they're still very good products. And also for these products, we are trying to maximize the user experience. But this is truly an upgrade in terms of ease of use. I mean, I'm using it myself, and every time I'm using it, I get this feeling of finally,
relief.
Yeah, relief. Like finally a hardware wallet that is that's been designed for the general audience, for the consumer market, for people that are not necessarily crypto experts. But even the crypto experts will be delighted by this product because it's just easier to use. It's just nice.
Yeah, because one issue I think what crypto is facing is how to get really mainstream. And with this bit more complicated devices, a lot of people are kind of locked out because they sometimes feel that, oh, this is just too much for me. So as soon as we're getting to the level, for example, with this one, when it's much easier and user-friendly, more people will be open-minded and open up for self-custody, because many cases it's just pure of comfort, why they're just keeping on, for example, exchanges, because, okay, they somehow managed to get there, and then it's just there. But with this one, actually, I think it's just pushing them in the direction that, yes, self-custody is not like a difficult thing.
Yeah, I mean, the market is ahead of us, not behind us. And so it doesn't really matter how many people got in crypto up until now. There'll be much more people coming into crypto in the future. I mean, the people that have Bitcoin in the world right now is very small compared to the total number of people in the world and total number of people that have access to the internet. So the question is not so much what you've done in the past, but what are you going to do in the future? And some people sometimes, are stuck in the past. They don't want things to change because they were early adopters, and so they know how to use this technology better than the average person. And sometimes Ledger get criticized for trying to innovate or trying to do something new. But the thing is, what we say is, we're pro-choice. We don't compromise on security, and then we're pro-choice. If you want your 101 Ledger experience, the Nano S Plus exists. You can connect with a cable, and that's your Ledger experience that you've known all your life. Now, if you want a more delightful experience, then you got the Stax, you got the Flex, you have these new products. And so we truly believe in choice, but the people that are coming in the market now will be less savvy than the early adopters, for sure. And so for them, we had to deal with two issues, two issues that are part of the onboarding of self-custody, the onboarding of digital ownership. And the one is, the actual onboarding process, I open the box, I click, I enter, I do my setup.
Right.
How difficult is that? It used to be 30 minutes, now it's down to 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And so that's much easier to set up. We also made the Nano X and Nano S Plus onboarding much easier as a process of developing this, if you like. But we've been very focused on the onboarding. The second thing that we've been focusing on is what do you do with the 24 words? And we've been criticized for launching Ledger Recover.
Yes.
But now we have tens of thousands of users that are using Ledger Recover, and actually for all the people that were upset with Ledger Recover, you have 10 people that are happy with it. And the reason is, most people are afraid to be in self-custody if they don't know what to do with the 24 words. And at least now they have an option with Ledger Recover, because I remember that it's optional.
Exactly.
That they have like a sort of a cloud-based solution based on that is very secure and proven to be secure, and now open source, and so anybody can verify that is available. So you saw for these two issues first, because this is where you lose the most people, is the onboarding process. And then the usability after that, how do you connect to your Web3 life? Is it easy to connect to Ledger Live? Is it easy to connect to any other wallet? Is it easy to do a transaction? And so on and so forth. And with these products, and because it's a simple touch now, it became so much easier.
I think that Ledger is in this year 10 years old now. Now this is the 10 years anniversary. You guys have so many experiences, and you now already know what the market kind of needs, because you have realized that, okay, so as what you just mentioned, the problem is some people want self-custody, but they're not trusting even themselves with that 24 words. So there for them it's optional, but it's their Ledger recovery, so they have that opportunity. If they don't want to use it, they just store the 24 words for themselves. It's also doable. So they have now many options.
Yeah, there's that, but I want to make also another point clear. For the early adopters, they understand the risks of being in self-custody and the risk of crypto sort of better than the average. And so they can accept that risk, meaning that if I lose my 24 words, I lose everything. And
Yep.
there is a say in this business called, it's a meme, sorry for your loss type of thing. And for a while, it was the philosophy at Ledger. It's like, hey, you got your Ledger, you got your 24 words. If you lose the two, sorry for your loss. And as I took over Ledger in mid-19, as CEO. And for me, sorry for your loss was an acceptable answer to our customers. You can't say to your customers, sorry for your loss. We're not responsible. You are responsible for your own security, and we give you the tools and products for you to be a sovereign individual. But that being said, it's also our role to make sure that we remove you, or we try to remove you out of the equation when it comes to your own security. And so there are many things that we're doing now and that we'll do in the future. Ledger Recover, again, is an optional feature that removes some of the risk for you. And so, for people that were unhappy on Twitter or X.com, so many people were writing us, at the customer success team saying, hey, I've lost my Ledger, I've lost my 24 words. What can I do now? And, it's heartbreaking to say something like, sorry for your loss. And so we needed an option. We have it now, and we will come with much more options in the future. for people never to lose access to their funds. And the reason why it's important is because, say you have $10,000 in Bitcoin. Okay, if you lose access to your funds, it's bad, but it's not life-ending.
Right.
Although it depends how rich you are and whatever 10,000 represent for you, but you see where I'm getting at. It's now. What if it's your money, but also your real estate deeds, your identity? I mean, everything that is your digital life. Your password, your passkeys, your data, because we're launching all of these services now as well. And it becomes more and more of a real issue to lose access to your ledger. And so we have to come up with solution so you never lose access. Even if you lose your ledger, even if you lose your 24-hour, you should always be able to have access. So this is what we're working on, because we feel that there is so much more value that's going to come on this blockchain. There's so much more value that you will be able to own, that not having access is not possible.
Right, because people nowadays, when they think about blockchain, usually they think about cryptocurrencies. But for example, here we have the Dubai property market, also being on the blockchain. And the future is really bright for blockchain. It's basically data what you can put on that blockchain. And to keep it secure, it's important. So as you just mentioned, more and more things will be in the blockchain in the future. So even more and more important things, which could be important for you, if it's not just your $10,000, what you mentioned. And therefore, security on the blockchain becomes significant. Yeah,
security and also, but access. It's not possible to see a future where sorry for your loss is an acceptable answer. Now, there will always be, with private property, there is always a moment where either you're responsible or you need to have insurance, because also you need to think about yourself, right? And so this is why education becomes very, very important, because we have to sort of unlearn what we've learned in the past. What we've learned in the past is, don't worry, Google's got you. Or Apple has you, we are a product for Google and Apple and all these guys, and the web's got very concentrated on a few value propositions, and we delegate basically ownership to the GAFAMs or the banks, etc., etc. Now we're entering into a world where we have digital private property, which is very new, and so there is a lot of education that needs to be provided to users, so they actually do understand what's going on, how to secure themselves, where is the best line of defense, why is Ledger the most secure device in the market, who is saying the truth, who is not telling you that you're compromising on security, because there are a bunch of actors out there that are trying to compete with Ledger that are not true to their users in terms of what is the compromise that you're doing on security, and so education is very important. This is why we have the one of the top 3 educational platforms out there is called Ledger Academy. This is one of our biggest marketing initiatives that we've been pushing for a few years now. And we're up there with Coinbase and Binance, and we think this is a very strong achievement, but also we believe that education is also our duty, education to our users, so they understand how to best secure themselves.
I think one thing what not many people are familiar with, maybe what is Ledger Donjon, because I think it's a very, very important part of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so when you do security, it's a bit of a cat and mouse game, right?
Right.
And so it's not because you build something that is secure today that is going to be secure in 10 years. Let's say that you build something that you feel is secure today, and then you do nothing and you wait 10 years, there is a good chance that, attackers would have caught up and don't know how to break your security today, but if you give them enough time and enough money, they will eventually figure it out. And so security never sleeps. You always need to build the defense at the same time as the attackers are building the attack, and you always need to be a step ahead of the attackers, and there are many ways of doing this. But one of the ways of doing this for a security company is to have an attack lab. And so instead of waiting for people to attack you, you attack yourself,
Right.
And you try to find your own weaknesses and correct them before somebody else can find them. And so the Donjon is exactly that. It's an attack lab. We have some of the best hackers in the world. We call them, so they're called white hats versus black hats. So black hats are the bad guys, white hats are the good guys. And we attack ourselves, we attack our competitors, we attack, you know, sort of everybody in the market, just to make sure that we raise the bar collectively of security. Ledger is the best security company in the space. It's one of the only security company in the space, actually. But it doesn't mean that, you know, but our mission, as you asked me, is not just to make Ledger products secure, it's to make the industry more secure. And so typically, when we attack our competitors, it's to also help them raise the bar of security and to make sure that they don't fail. Because when anyone fails in this market, it's a collective failure. If one of our competitors get attacked tomorrow and they fail and they lose a lot of funds from their customers, it's not a happy day for Ledger. Maybe in the short term it means more business for us because, you know, consumers will go from one brand to another. But in the long run, it means that, you know, people will be afraid of coming into the space. People will be afraid of using self-custody because every bad story, you know, is just a break for mass market to come in this business. So our mission is to secure not only Ledger but the rest of the industry. So that's what the Donjon is about.
So there are a lot of white hackers cracking your own, trying to. Getting into the Ledger's own system. And,
own system, but also other systems. And, you know, we do it for good, but sometimes also we do it to expose, you know, people that are doing false claims. There are a bunch of actors in the space that compromise on security. And it's okay to compromise on your security as long as you know what you're doing.
Right. Okay.
But to pretend that you're selling a secure product when it's not secure, you know, that's not okay. And also, so there are a few actors like this in the space, and you know, the Donjon is always looking at sort of every product and, you know, trying to you know, break every other product. Most of the time is to help companies to up their game in terms of security, and sometimes it's also for educational purposes, you know, to show consumers what's security versus what's not, and to debunk, you know, the myths in this space. One of the myths, for example, is cold storage. You know, when people say, "Oh, you know, I put everything on a paper wallet," you know, I find often these comments on X.com. It's like, "Well, Ledger is no good. I've got everything on a paper wallet." Okay, fantastic. What do you do with your paper wallet? When you want to do a transaction, what do you do? Where are you going to put your 24 words? Like, you know, because with a paper wallet, you cannot do a transaction. Okay.
Exactly. So, at some point, you have to come out from offline.
At some point, you have to come out from offline. So what are you going to do? And so this idea that as long as my, you know, 24 words are in cold storage, it's the wrong idea, and especially for the future. Coins will be moving. If you don't have access to your private keys and your coins, like, you know, how are you going to interact with DeFi? All the applications that are being built on top of layer 1 blockchains right now, you know, through layer 2s or whatnot, like, you know, how do you access this if you don't connect to the internet at some point? So this idea that you can only be safe if you're not connected from the internet, that's a terrible idea for all these reasons. And so our job is to debunk this, to educate with Ledger Academy, to you know, crack everything open with a Donjon, and we have many other ways of doing this.
Okay, so finally, Ledger have done a lot of things in the first 10 years. So what's the plan for the next 10 years?
Well, more of the same. You know, for the past 5 years, so I took the helm of Ledger mid-19. So what is it? Almost the end of 24 now. So it's almost 5.5 years now. It took 5 years to go from like Nano X, we're just launching the Nano X, till where we are today, where we've developed Ledger Live as one of the sort of main wallet out there. So people sometimes have a misconception of Ledger because they think about us like, you know, this piece of hardware. But what they fail to understand is this is an operating system that is connected to almost now all blockchains on the internet, which is crazy. So this is the wallet that support like the most coins, blockchain, whatever you want. It is then connected to Ledger Live. Ledger Live is probably the best software wallet out there. People talk a lot about, Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, Rabi, etc., which all are amazing wallets, and they're all compatible with your Ledger. You can actually connect with all of these guys with your Ledger, and we love that about what we do. Like, we're an open platform, and we develop everything as an open platform. But Ledger Live is also probably one of the best software experience in the space, and we're very proud of what we've done in the past 5 years to make Ledger Live like really one of the go-to place if you want to manage your crypto. And we also have Ledger Enterprise and Ledger Enterprise TradeLink, which is an off-exchange trading platform, which is probably one of the best enterprise products out there in the market right now. And so the next 10 years will be sort of more of the same, because you mentioned it earlier. There are more and more assets that are coming on the blockchain. There are cryptocurrencies, there are other type of assets. There are more and more secrets that need absolute security online, whether it's your passkey, whether it's your data, and we've announced like 2 products that are live now that you can use. You can secure your passkeys with your Ledger. You can secure your data with your Ledger now. And these are 2 things that we just announced in the past few weeks, and there are so many more things that we are going to announce. So in the next 10 years, people will understand more and more that, Ledger is their everyday security tool for everything that is digital and everything that they need to protect, whether it's money, whether it's data, whether it's any kind of online secrets that you might have.
Right, Pascal, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck in the next 10 years with Ledger. Stay on board, keep doing what you're doing. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this educational video, because I think security is very, very important. And it's very important to have an easy access to your things, which Ledger also provides. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for another videos like this. See you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.